All right, good morning, folks. This is we're entering a new unit, Chapter 5 here. It's on civil liberties. So I've been trying to explore different opportunities for you, different options to pursue this content. Unfortunately, the study edge materials are kind of crappy, so we'll see what other kind of options I can dig up for you. But today we have a screencast on civil liberties. So the first thing you need to understand is that on the street, when we talk about civil liberties, civil rights, they pretty much mean the same thing. In fact, if you take away the word civil, liberties and rights are interchangeable. However, as students of government, we do have to understand that there is a subtle difference between civil liberties and civil rights. So in this chapter, chapter 5 is about civil liberties. Civil liberties are your basic freedoms, freedoms contained in the Bill of Rights. Because they limit what government can do, we connect civil liberties to the constitutional principle, limited government. Civil liberties reduces the power of government. Now, civil rights is similar, but it's kind of opposite also. So civil rights we will look at more specifically in chapter 6. Civil rights are your citizenship rights, your right to vote, and your right to be treated equally under the law. We connect civil rights to the Civil War Amendments 13 and 14 and the Voting Rights Amendments 15, 19, and 26. Civil rights increases the power of government. It gives more power to government to ensure our citizenship rights are secure. In effect, civil rights gives government the power to expand and define who the people are in the phrase, we the people. After the 15th Amendment, we the people now included African American men. After the 19th Amendment, women. Because civil rights give government the power to define we the people, we connect civil rights to the constitutional principle, popular sovereignty. All right, moving on. Okay. Do we need a Bill of Rights? Federalists famously argued no. The new government wasn't a monarchy. If you didn't like it, you could vote in a new government. Noah Webster, one of the Federalists, said, in a government where the people rule, a Bill of Rights is absurd. Who do you need protection from? Yourself? If you didn't buy that argument, they would point to Article 1, Section 9, where there were some specific denials of power. Number one, Congress was denied the power to suspend habeas corpus. Habeas corpus is your right to be brought before a judge to hear the charges against you if you are arrested. Congress was also denied the power to pass bills of attainder. A bill of attainder is a law that makes you guilty without the benefit of a trial. It's the court taking on the powers of the judicial branch. Not finally, but Congress was also denied the powers to pass ex post facto laws that make an act illegal after the fact, after the action has already occurred. Finally, in my favorite, in Federalist 84, Hamilton tried to convince the public that including a Bill of Rights in the Constitution was dangerous. To make a list would limit the rights of the people to the specific items on the list. Government would then assume it had the power to do whatever wasn't on the list. People didn't buy this and said, yeah, whatever, Hamilton, give us a list of rights. Even after the ratification of the Bill of Rights in 1791, there were questions as to whom the Bill of Rights protects you from. These protections are limitations on which level of government. In the First Amendment, it says Congress shall make no law. Well, Congress is a national institution. So the question wasn't fully answered until the court case Barron v. Baltimore. But in that case, the majority opinion wrote the limitations on government articulated in the Fifth Amendment were specifically intended to limit the powers of the national government. This was a court expressing an originalist philosophy. They argued that the framers were concerned with intrusions of the national government, not state governments. The Bill of Rights, therefore, only applied to the national government. The states could do whatever they wanted to do. It wasn't until the 14th Amendment that we see language that can expand the Bill of Rights protections to the states. In Section 1 of the 14th Amendment, you will find a due process clause and an equal protection clause. The equal protection clause is in red. We connect the equal protection clause to civil rights and popular sovereignty. We'll talk more about the equal protection clause when we get to chapter 6 in civil rights. The clause that interests us most today is the due process clause. The due process clause is in blue. We connect it to civil liberties and limited government, specifically because it says, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. It is here where we see the legal foundation for the incorporation doctrine. Incorporation is a Supreme Court action that extends the protection of the Bill of Rights to intrusions by state governments. In the case of Gitlow v. New York, the court set in motion the process of selective incorporation. After the ratification of the 14th Amendment, but before Gitlow, there was a question as to whether the due process clause of the 14th Amendment required total or selective incorporation. Total incorporation meant that all of the protections in Amendments 1 through 8 should be extended to the states as a whole at one time. Selective incorporation argued for a piecemeal approach, that the protections would be extended on a case-by-case, freedom-by-freedom basis. So let's go back to Gitlow. The specifics of Gitlow are that Gitlow was a socialist. He was arrested for distributing a left-wing manifesto that called for the establishment of socialism. He was convicted for advocating the overthrow of the United States government by force. The court ruled in Gitlow versus New York that the due process clause of the 14th Amendment extended only the freedom of speech protection to the states. It did overturn Barron versus Baltimore, and so it established the process of selective incorporation. And selective incorporation was going to be the process moving forward after Gitlow. It also ruled that Gitlow could be punished for his speech because it threatened the basic existence of the United States government. So, as a result of this, what has happened is that we have achieved total incorporation through a process of selective incorporation. So in the future, as we talk about court cases, you want to always recognize whether it's a case that incorporates a particular freedom guaranteed in the Bill of Rights. It extends that protection to intrusions from state governments as well. All right, so that's it for today, folks. Thanks for coming. We'll talk to you tomorrow or in the future. There's lots of fun to be had in this particular unit.